A alien girl stood alone in the control room, surrounded by soft blue lights and quiet humming machines. Her name was Lyra Vesh, a junior radar officer on an outer observation station at the edge of known space. It was the kind of post most officers avoided. Nothing ever happened here. That was the rule of deep space. Lyra's long fingers moved calmly across the control panel as she checked routine scans. Star patterns, energy dust, empty space, all normal. She had done the same check hundreds of times before. Her thoughts wandered, just like space outside the window, silent and endless. Then the radar beeped. Lyra paused. That sound was not part of the routine. She leaned closer to the screen. A small blinking mark appeared at the edge of the radar field. It was faint, unstable, almost like static. Probably noise, she whispered to herself. She ran a quick system check. The radar was clean, no errors, no interference. The signal blinked again. This time it moved. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Objects did not move like that unless they were powered. She adjusted the scan range, focusing all sensors on the unknown contact. The shape began to form. It was not an asteroid. Not debris. Not any ship design she had seen before. It was wrong. The object looked simple. Too simple. Long and solid, with sharp edges and uneven symmetry. No glowing fins. No elegant curves like advanced alien craft. It looked old, heavy, almost crude, yet the energy reading was high. Very high. Her heart began to beat faster. She pulled up Galactic Species Database and let the system auto-match the signal. Lines of text scrolled fast across the screen. Then it stopped. No match for you and Lyra swallowed. That had never happened before. She expanded the search, removing safety limits, including Forbidden's archives and ancient records. A warning flashed, but she ignored it. One file appeared. Old, very old. So old it was marked myth classification. Lyra stared at the name on the screen. HFY. Her breath caught. Humans were not real. Everyone knew that. They were stories told to scare young cadets. Legends. From the early days of space travel. A so-called death world species that destroyed itself before reaching the stars. At least, that was what history said. Lyra remembered her instructors laughing when the topic came up. Humans never left their planet. They said they were too violent, too emotional, too unstable to survive. She had believed them. Now her radar showed a human ship moving steadily through space. No, she whispered. That's not possible. The signal grew stronger. The object was approaching her station. Lyra zoomed in further. The ship had no visible shield glow, yet it cut through radiation clouds without slowing. Its engines burned in short, controlled bursts, efficient, precise, confident. This was not a drifting relic. This was a living ship. Her fingers shook as she opened a communication channel to command. Outer Station Vesh reporting, she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Unknown vessel detected. Design does not match any known species. There was a pause. Then a bored voice replied, "Confirm error check, officer." "I did," Lyra said quickly, multiple times. Another pause, longer this time. "What is the classification?" Lyra hesitated. Saying it out loud felt dangerous. "Human," she said softly. The channel went silent for several seconds. No one spoke. "Repeat," the voice finally said, sharp and alert now. "Human," Lyra repeated. "The files say they are a myth, but the ship is real. It's moving. And it's entering our sector." Warning lights began to glow around the room. The ship had crossed a boundary marker, unauthorized entry. Lyra's screen flashed with proximity alerts. The human vessel was much closer now. Close enough that its mass affected local gravity readings. Her stomach tightened. Why would a myth come here? She pulled up visual sensors. The image resolved slowly. The ship was scarred. Dark marks ran along its hull, old damage, repaired again and again. This ship had been in battles, many battles. It looked tired, but it did not slow down. Instead, adjusted its course slightly, straight toward her station. Lyra felt something she had never felt before on duty. Fear. The loud kind. Not panic. A quiet fear that whispered, "Everything you know is wrong." The radar chimed again. A new message appeared on her screen. "Unknown vessel has detected." While Lyra froze. "They saw us first," she whispered. Her hands hovered over the alert controls. Protocol demanded she trigger station defenses, but something stopped her. The human ship did not power weapons. It did not raise shields. It simply drifted closer, calm and steady, like it had nothing to fear. Lyra stared at the screen, her reflection faint in the glass. Humans were supposed to be extinct, yet one was here. And for the first time in her life, Lyra realized the galaxy might have made a terrible mistake. The radar beeped one final time. Incoming signal. She held her breath. The myth was about to speak. The control room felt smaller than before. Lyra Vesh stood frozen as the incoming signal icon blinked on her screen. She did not answer it. Not yet. Her training screamed at her to wait for command approval. But command was silent. Across the station, emergency lights dimmed to a low red glow. Not because of danger, because of fear. Protocol. That protocol was old. Very old. It was only used when an unknown force entered restricted space. The human ship waited. It did not push closer. It did not retreat. It simply stayed there. Lyra noticed that first. They are patient, she whispered. Finally, command responded. Officer Vesh, the senior commander said, his voice tight. Do not reply to the signal. Lyra frowned. Sir, they already detected us. Ignoring them may be seen as hostile. There was anger on the other end now. You will follow orders, the commander snapped. Humans are unpredictable. That word again. Unpredictable. Lyra glanced at the human ship's data feed. Its movement was smooth, calm. Every system showed balance and control. Nothing about it looked unpredictable. In the command chamber, far from the station, the Galactic Council had already begun arguing. They are extinct, one leader shouted. They destroyed themselves, another insisted. This must be a trap, a third said. Ancient files were reopened. War legends, half-burned records. Stories of humans fighting wars that lasted generations. Of soldiers who kept going even when wounded. Of fleets that refused to retreat. Stories, one counselor said nervously. Nothing more. But fear does not need proof. Back at the station, Lyra watched as the human ship sent another signal, still simple. Still calm. No threat markers. No weapon locks. Instead, the signal pattern was polite. She zoomed in on the waveform. It's structured like a greeting, she said quietly. The commander hesitated. That hesitation told Lyra everything. The galaxy had no plan for this. Open a narrow channel, the commander finally said. Audio only, no visuals. Lyra's fingers moved quickly. The channel opened. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a voice spoke, not loud, not aggressive. Human. This is exploration vessel Ardent Way, the voice said. We detected your station during a long-range sweep. We mean no harm. The translation software finished instantly. Lyra felt her breath shake. The voice sounded tired. Older than expected. Behind her, officers exchanged uneasy looks. This was not the voice of a monster. It was the voice of someone who had traveled far. Command responded, cold and careful. You have entered restricted space. Identify your species. There was a short pause, then the human answered, We are human. The room went silent again. Even the machine seemed quieter. Command swallowed. Records list humans as a myth. The human voice did not argue. "So we've heard," it replied calmly. That simple answer hit harder than any threat. Lyra stared. At the screen, they knew the galaxy had erased them. The human continued. "We are not here to conquer. We are mapping deep space. Your station appeared suddenly on our sensors." Suddenly, that word bothered Lyra. Human sensors had detected a hidden station first. How? She wondered. Command leaned forward. "You are advised to leave immediately." Another pause. This one felt heavier. "We can," the human said slowly. "But we believe you should listen first." Fear rippled through the room. "Listen to what?" Command demanded. "To a warning," the human replied. Lyra's heart sank. Warnings never came without reason. Before Command could respond, the station's long-range scanners spiked. A massive energy shadow appeared far beyond normal detection range. Unknown. Fast. Growing. Lyra turned pale. "Sir, something else is out there." The human ship did not move. That scared her more than anything. "They already know," she realized. Command's voice trembled. "Human vessel." "Explain." The human answered without delay. "There is a fleet moving toward this region," the voice said. "It destroyed 3 systems behind us." Silence. Then chaos erupted across the command channel. Lyra looked back at the human ship. Still calm. Still waiting. Not as a guest, not as a threat, but as someone who had seen this before. Her fear changed shape. This was not fear of humans anymore. This was fear of what was coming, and fear of the truth the galaxy had buried. Lyra whispered to herself. Barely audible. Humans were never a myth. The screen flashed again. Unknown fleet detected. Time to contact. Sotorti. The human ship finally moved, not away, but forward. The control room was no longer quiet. Warning lights pulsed slowly. Not fast enough to signal panic, but steady enough to remind everyone that danger was close. Lyra Vesh stood at her station, eyes locked on the expanding energy shadow on the far edge of the sensors. It was real. The human warning had been true. Command officers spoke over each other, voices sharp and afraid. "How far? Speed estimate? Why didn't our sensors catch this earlier?" Lyra answered without looking away from the screen. "Our sensors didn't miss it," she said softly. "They were never strong enough to see it." That sentence settled heavy in the room. The human ship Ardent Way moved again, slow, controlled, deliberate. It slid forward, placing itself directly between the alien station and the incoming unknown fleet. Lyra noticed something strange. The human ship was alone. No backup. No escort. No hidden fleet signatures. Just one ship. Are they insane? Officer whispered. Lyra didn't think so. She studied the human vessel closely. Power readings shifted across its systems, not rising suddenly, not aggressively. Instead, the energy moved like water being redirected. Efficient. Calm. Human. Command opened the channel again. "Human vessel, you are outmatched. Retreat immediately." The reply came fast. "We know," the human said. That answer sent a chill through the room. No denial, no fear, just acceptance. "Then why are you still there?" Command demanded. The human voice lowered slightly. "Because running would make this worse for you." Lyra felt her breath slow. That was not arrogance, that was experience. The unknown fleet's shadow grew clearer. Sharp shapes formed inside its ships built for speed and destruction. Their energy output was wild, unstable, hungry. Predators. Lyra realized something terrifying. The humans had not chased this fleet. They had survived it. The human ship opened a data stream without being asked. Tactical recordings filled the screens, short, brutal clips of battles. Human ships damaged, burning, still fighting. Enemy vessels collapsing under precise strikes. No wasted motion. No dramatic maneuvers. Just results. The room fell silent. Command stared. You fought them, and lived. Yes, the human replied. We learned them. That word echoed in Lyra's mind. Learned. Not defeated. Not feared. Studied. The human ship adjusted its position slightly, aligning its damaged hull toward the incoming threat, shielding the station behind it. Lyra clenched her hands. They're protecting us. She realized. Without being asked, without permission. Command hesitated. Why warn us? Why help? This time, the pause before the answer was longer. Because you are in the way, the human finally said. And because if you fall, they will keep coming. Simple, honest, cold. Unknown fleet accelerated. Space seemed to tighten as energy levels spiked. Alien defense systems powered up, but slowly. Too slowly. Lyra knew the truth before anyone said it. They were not ready. The human ship was. Human vessel. Command said quietly, pride gone from his voice. What do you require? Another pause. Nothing, the human answered. Just stay behind us. That sentence hit harder than any demand. The galaxy's so-called myth was now giving orders. The human ship's outer panels shifted. Not weapons sensor arrays, massive ones. Because they were new. They were advanced because they had been used. Again and again. The human ship locked onto the no threats. Just targeting data. Impact in 90 seconds. Lyra reported that the human ship's engines flared, not bright, not dramatic. Ship can't stop that. The human voice answered calmly, as if hearing him anyway. We're not trying to stop them, Lyra frowned. Then what are they doing? The human finished the thought. We're slowing them down. Through space. The human ship did not dodge. It endured. Shields flared late, intentionally late absorbing the worst hits before adjusting. The hull took damage. Sparks and debris flew from its surface, but it did not break. Lyra's eyes burned. They're letting themselves get hit. She whispered. Not weakness. Calculation. The human ship returned fire short, focused bursts. Not enough to destroy. Just enough to cripple engines, disrupt formations, force hesitation. The enemy fleet slowed. Confused. Command stared in disbelief. They're controlling the battle, he said. Lyra finally understood. Humans did not fight to look strong. They fought to decide the outcome. As alarms echoed and the station shook, Lyra whispered the truth she could no longer deny. Humans were never a myth. Outside, the human ship burned. Inside, it advanced. And the galaxy was about to learn why forgetting them had been a mistake. The battle did not end quickly. It stretched. That alone confused the alien commanders. The unknown fleet should have overwhelmed the single human ship in minutes. Its numbers were greater. Its weapons were stronger. On paper, the outcome was clear, but paper meant nothing in real war. Lyra Vesh watched the battle feed in silence. Sections of its hull glowed hot. Internal fires burned and were sealed off without panic. Inside the ship, humans moved calmly, too calmly. No screaming. No rushing. No disorder. Just controlled motion. They should be retreating, an officer muttered. Lyra shook her head slowly. They won't. She did not know why she was so sure. She just felt it. The human ship took another direct hit. Shields flickered. A lesser ship would have collapsed. Instead, Ardent Way adjusted power, cutting energy from non-essential systems and feeding it into structure reinforcement. It chose survival over comfort. Lyra realized something. This ship wasn't built to win, she whispered. It was built to last. Command glanced at her, but said nothing. The human captain opened a data channel again, this time without asking. Historical records poured into the alien systems. Old images. Damaged cities, scarred landscapes. Humans fighting each other. Humans rebuilding. Lyra's throat tightened. This is their history, she asked. Yes, the human voice said quietly. Frozen wastelands. Flooded lands. Human soldiers carrying the wounded through smoke and ruin. Alien officers turned away. Lyra could not. They destroyed their own world, one commander said. The human replied, calm but firm. No, we survived it. That difference mattered. The human continued. We learned early that comfort is temporary. Peace breaks, systems fail. No one spoke. The human's voice went on. So, we built for failure. We trained for loss. We expected betrayal, disaster, extinction. Lyra felt a strange weight in her chest. Humans did not trust the universe to be kind. They prepared for it to be cruel. The unknown fleet regrouped, changing tactics. Faster attacks. Harder strikes. The human ship adapted immediately. No delay. No debate. They're not reacting, Lyra realized. They already planned this. Command's voice was quiet now. How many wars did your species fight? There was a pause. Enough, the human answered. To know war never stays the same. Lyra noticed something else. The human ship was not aiming for enemy command ships. It was targeting supply. Vessels. Fuel carriers. Communication nodes. Why? An officer asked. The human answered as if teaching a lesson. You don't beat monsters by hitting their teeth. You starve them. The enemy fleet began to slow. Their formations broke. Frustration replaced confidence. Lyra felt her fear shift again. This was not raw strength. This was understanding. The human ship took another hit. Worse this time. A section of the hull cracked open. Atmosphere vented into space. Gasps filled the control room. The human voice cut in. Damage contained. Lyra stared at the feed. Human crew sealed the breach manually. One was thrown into space. Another pulled him back. No hesitation. No panic. Just action. They don't stop for pain. Lyra whispered. Command looked shaken. How are they still fighting? The human answered softly. Because stopping is how you die. The enemy fleet finally hesitated. They had never faced prey that refused to break. The human ship burned, scarred, bleeding energy, but it kept advancing. Lyra realized the truth. Too late. The galaxy had feared humans for the wrong reason. It wasn't their violence. It was their refusal to quit. The human captain spoke one last time before the next phase of battle. This is why we survived, he said. And why you forgot us. The screens flared with alerts. Enemy fleet retreating. Temporary. Lyra exhaled slowly. This was not over. The human ship drifted back slightly, still between the threat and the station, protecting them. Command's voice was barely above. A whisper. We owe you. The human replied without pride. No, he said. You owe yourselves. Lyra looked at the human ship, scarred and steady. For the first time, she understood. Humans were not myths. They were warnings written in blood and survival. And the galaxy had just read the first page. Space went quiet in a way that felt wrong. The enemy fleet was retreating, but it was not running. Its ships moved back in perfect order, keeping distance, watching. Her eyes followed the red marks fading from the tactical screen. They are not done, she said softly. The human ship Ardent Way remained in place. Its hull was torn, blackened, and leaking heat. But its position did not change. It still blocked the path. The human captain opened the channel again. This time, his voice carried no urgency. A test? Yes, the human replied. They send small groups first. They measure resistance. They record reactions. Lyra felt cold. You mean, this wasn't their real force? No, the human said. Not even close. Images appeared on the screen, long-range scans. Massive shadows hidden behind folds of space. Fleets so large they bent sensor readings. Alien officers gasped. That's impossible, one whispered. The human answered simply, we thought so too, once. Lyra's heart pounded. Humans had faced this before. Alone. Command leaned forward. How did you survive? The human paused. When he spoke again, his voice was lower. We didn't. Not at first. Silence filled the room. The human continued. They reached our borders years ago. We lost colonies. We lost ships. We lost people. Lyra watched the data stream destroyed human worlds, evacuation failures, last stands. They don't conquer, the human said. They erase. That word hit harder than any image. Erase. The human ship shifted slightly. Its engines flared weakly, then steadied. We learned too late that fighting them head-on feeds them data, the human said. Them how to kill you better. Command's voice shook. Then why fight at all? The human answered without hesitation. Because not fighting teaches them you are easy. Lyra swallowed. The enemy fleet stopped retreating. They held position just outside weapon range, waiting. The human captain spoke again. They will return with the right tools. The right numbers. A new alert flashed on Lyra's screen. Enemy. Signal lock observation mode. They are studying us, she whispered. Yes, the human said. And now they know you exist. The room felt suddenly fragile. Command looked at the human ship. Why stay? You could leave. Warn others. Another pause. Then the human answered, we already did. Lyra's eyes widened. You warned the galaxy? No, the human said. We warned ourselves. Human fleets were mobilizing. Hidden bases activating. Ships long silent waking up. They had planned this. The human captain's voice grew firm. If you fall, the next systems won't even see them coming. Command's pride finally broke. What do you want from us? The human did not ask for weapons. Did not ask for territory. Did not ask for power. Listen, he said. And remember. Lyra felt something shift inside her. Humans did not want control. They wanted witnesses. The enemy fleet powered. Weapons briefly, just enough to show they could. A threat. The human ship did not respond. They watch you scared, the human said. Fear makes mistakes. Command clenched his jaw. Then tell us what to do. The human's answer was quiet. Prepare to lose what you think you need, he said. And protect what you can't replace. Lyra understood. Lives, not stations. Not borders. The human captain finished with words that felt like a scar. We survived because we accepted that the galaxy is not fair. You still believe it is. The channel closed. Outside, the enemy fleet slowly turned away, slipping back into the dark. Not gone, just patient. Lyra stared at the stars, feeling older than she had an hour ago. Humans were not saviors, they were survivors, who came back with a message, and the message was clear. The war had already started. The screen flashed one final alert. Human fleet signals detected. Multiple LOCATO whispered the truth. The galaxy is not ready. But humans were. The enemy fleet returned without warning. There was no signal, no threat message, no delay. Space itself seemed to tear as dozens of massive ships emerged from folded darkness. Their arrival crushed sensor ranges and drowned the station in alarms. Lyra Vesh gripped her console as red lights flooded the control room. They're back, she whispered. All of them. The alien defense network tried to respond, but it was too late. The enemy fleet had already spread out, forming attack patterns designed to overwhelm. Panic rippled through command channels. Then something else happened. Human. Signals appeared. Not one. Not 10. Hundreds. They blinked into existence across the star map, silent. Precise. Perfectly spaced. Lyra's breath caught. They were already here, she realized. Hidden. The human ship Ardent Way moved forward. Again, damaged but steady. Its captain opened the channel one last time. Now you watch, he said calmly. Human ships emerged from sensor shadows, from behind moons, from inside radiation storms that no alien vessel could survive. Some looked old. Some were clearly rebuilt. Many times. None looked pretty. All of them looked ready. The enemy fleet reacted. Too late. Human ships did not rush. They boxed in the enemy, cutting off retreat routes. Jamming communications. Targeting navigation systems. This isn't a charge, Lyra said softly. It's a trap. The first human strike was not bright or loud. It was quiet. A series of precise hits disabled enemy command vessels. No explosions. Just silence where leadership once was. Enemy formations began to break. Human ships moved in pairs and trios, covering each other, absorbing hits meant for allies. When one ship took heavy damage, another replaced it without orders. No confusion. No hesitation. They fight like one mind. Command whispered. The enemy fleet unleashed its full power. Space burned. Human ships were hit. Some were torn apart. But the humans did not stop. They changed tactics instantly, sacrificing damaged ships to block fire lanes, using wreckage as cover, turning losses into advantages. Lyra watched in horror and awe. They're using themselves as shields, she said. The human captain answered, his voice steady. We learned that metal can be replaced. Time can't. A human ship exploded near the station, its debris deflecting a massive enemy blast that would have destroyed the outpost. Lyra felt tears burn her eyes. They saved us. The battle shifted. Enemy ships began to fall, one by one, then faster. Human weapons cut through systems with brutal efficiency. No celebration. No rage. Just execution. Enemy morale cracked. For the first time, they tried to flee. Human ships closed the net. The human captain spoke again. This is where we stop running. A final coordinated strike tore through the enemy fleet's core. Massive vessels collapsed, their power cores failing in silent flashes. The survivors fled into folded space. Broken and scattered. Space went still. Slowly, alarms faded. Human ships held position, damaged but unbroken. The Ardent Way drifted, its hull barely intact. Lyra exhaled shakily. We're alive, she whispered. Command opened the channel, voice trembling. Human fleet. We thank you. The human captain replied, tired now. This wasn't for thanks. Lyra looked at the star map. Human ships everywhere, guarding routes, watching the dark. What was it for? She asked quietly. The human answered with a truth that felt heavy. So, you won't make the same mistake we did, he said. The channel closed. Human ships began to move away, fading back into shadows. They did not stay. They never stayed. Lyra stared into space, understanding at last. Humans did not wait for the galaxy to be ready. They fought so the galaxy would have time, and time was the most human weapon of all. The battlefield was quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the heavy silence that comes after survival. Broken metal drifted through space. Faint energy sparks faded slowly, like dying stars. Lyra Vesh stood at the observation window, watching human ships pull back into the dark. One by one, their signals disappeared. They did not stay. They never asked for celebration. They left behind only damage and life. Emergency crews moved through the station. Systems rebooted. Wounded officers were treated. Everyone spoke in low voices, as if afraid to break the moment. The Galactic Council reconvened in silence. No shouting, no denial, only truth. Lyra was asked to speak. She had never addressed the council before. Her voice shook at first, but she forced herself to stand straight. They were not myths, she said. They were erased because the galaxy was afraid of them. Other from wreckage, human fleets standing between danger and others. They did not come to rule us, Lyra continued. They came to warn us. A senior counselor whispered. Why didn't they tell us sooner? Lyra answered softly. They did. We didn't listen. New records were opened. Old ones were unlocked. The classification change. Humans are resale HFY not as legends, not as threats, but as sentinel species. The council issued a system-wide broadcast. "Let it be known," the message said, "that humans are real, they are active, and they are not our enemy." Across the galaxy, fear shifted, not into hatred, into respect. Back at the station, Lyra returned to the control room. The human ship Ardent Way was gone. Only a faint energy trail remained. She touched the console where its signal had first appeared. They didn't even say goodbye. She whispered. A soft chime sounded. One final data packet appeared delayed, hidden deep within the system. It was from the human captain. Lyra opened it. "This is not a request," the message read. "It is a reminder," the message continued. "We are not heroes. We are survivors who learned the hard way. The enemy will return. Stronger, smarter." Lyra's chest tightened. But now the message said, "They will not find you unprepared." The final line stayed on the screen longer than the rest. "Remember us." Not as myths, but as proof. The message ended. Lyra leaned back, breathing slowly. She looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, humans were moving through the dark, not claiming worlds, not building empires. Watching. Waiting, protecting paths no one else could see. Galaxy had believed it was alone. It wasn't. Weeks later, new stations were built. Defense networks were redesigned. Patrol routes changed. Human data shaped everything. The galaxy adapted, because humans had already paid the price of ignorance. Lyra's final report was archived into galactic history. Her closing words were simple. "Humans are not the strongest species. They are the most prepared." The archive sealed. Far beyond known space, a human fleet adjusted its course. The war was not over, but this time, the galaxy would survive, because humanity had already shown it how.